So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
About your experience and everything that you had, like in the sense, what all was asked. A very good example is like the first day PPDT, what happened. So you get a basic idea. What was the PPDT like?
It was only so PPDT. There was one picture, and it was a similar picture of what we practiced. There were like people on the beach, and they were like
Correct.
lifting something. And the basic idea, the first idea was cleaning the beach. That we
Correct.
all that we every time like we did like
Right.
several times like we did. There were like several things related to cleaning the environment in the beach. So the first thing came to mind: cleaning the environment, cleaning the beach. So I took up what my story was like. There were three friends who, on a college trip, like on a weekend trip from their college, they went to a beach in Goa,
Mm-hmm.
where they found out like the tourist has all sky like due to the tourist like the
Yeah.
traffic and all, the beach was fully filled with garbage, and like it was dirty and it was not acceptable.
Right.
And the main hero of the story, that who I made, I remember like Rahul only or something similar name. Named him. So he is a climate activist and in his college, and he is a very nature friendly person. So the first thing that came to mind was cleaning this place. So he motivated his friends. Along with his friends,
Mm-hmm.
they started cleaning, and they used social media to spread awareness about the things and the campaign they are starting, and which attracted a lot of people. This was similar. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure in the discussion you were able to convince people.
So my chest number that I got was one at the
Right.
starting only, like the random allotment, that also
Correct.
I got one. And so I started the first. So what I did was I gave like started like good morning gentlemen, all the like like the and I didn't say assessors, so I just said good morning gentlemen. And based on the picture that was flashed to us a few minutes ago, I have created a story based on my own imagination
Mm-hmm.
and the background that was provided to us. Using that, my I have my character. There are three main characters in the story. All
Mm-hmm.
have a positive mood and helping attitude, and the story goes on like this. And the topic is cleaning the environment.
When did you get to speak out there in general in the PPT or in the discussion, especially?
So, like when I was telling my story, I come like it took like 1 minute was given, I
Yeah,
think.
I'm
So
confident because you get 1 minute, you were able to complete it up because
yeah,
we.
I completed my story. I just moved on to the specific points and I completed the story. And the assessor was like,
Story
"Good."
is not a problem. We had practiced a lot related to this, and that's not a
Yeah,
problem because, and the
yeah,
point is creating a social issue, we're covering it up.
yeah.
The thing is in a discussion, like a lot of people have a problem with related discussion, and I,
Yes, yes,
since you said it, were you the one who initiated the discussion?
yes,
So,
yeah,
so automatically it comes as a leadership quality for it.
yes, yes. So what I did was like, as people started talking, as people started sharing their story, what happened was like few were similar to mine, like cleaning. They were like cleaning the riverside basically. Mine
Correct.
was beach. They were like riverside or some water body near them, water body, lake, river, and all. But some were like absolutely random, and
Hmm.
they were like on a on a school thing, and they are doing something, they're playing, and like they were like normal basic children's story basically. Like they have a volleyball match, they're playing the volleyball and like this. So my first was like after everybody completed their story, then we got the part to discuss.
Correct.
The assessors told like now discuss and come to a conclusion. So I started that. So I said, gentlemen, as you all we have heard our story, and all our stories were quite good. What I was able to make out was most of us have the same idea of a water body and saving and cleaning the environment near
Correct.
that water body. So I
Correct.
gave that point, and I also said I think we should stick to that concept and keep it more social, and the idea of the story more social, and something with the social impact that would help. So I said
Absolutely.
that.
Now, as I said, the smartness that you did
Yeah,
is you did not say a beach and a river, which also can lead to a fight. And the smart
yeah,
thing that you said was the waterfront. So,
yeah,
like, everybody is going to have a problem related to it.
yeah.
So, that is what,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
everybody started nodding, and they say, "Yeah, yeah, this is good." And like, yeah,
automatically, that is the leadership thing. So, that's the first day. OIRs are not a problem as such
Yeah,
because they're simple.
we practiced it. Yeah, we practiced the OIs as well. It was like quite simple as actually. But I would say the one that I got,
Right.
they were more of the like we did numerical, or we did some
Just
general knowledge. But the question that I got, most of them were like sequence,
correct.
which sequence, what's the next upcoming, or the pattern one, the basically this is a
Correct.
these are 5 patterns, which is the next one, or
So
something like that.
it was more of your non-verbal that
Yeah, non
priority.
like yes. So they were like quite few. They were like meaning of the words or something like that. What would the right sentence be?
Correct.
Yeah. So most of them were like next sequence or the correct sequence. They were
Right.
like that.
But it's easy, and since it's not a problem, the main thing is the PPT itself. That
Yeah.
first, that as I said, it's not about sticking to what we say exactly. It's
Yeah.
to build it around because we did a smart thing of saying water body. Had you
Yeah.
said something again, oh, it's a beach, then again people have a problem.
Yes.
So it's just rounding up and everybody agreeing to it and saying social cause. Now coming to the second day, which is your psychology.
Psychology. So my second day, I had my psychology test, and then thereafter, straight away the interview on the
Interview.
same day.
Anything
Okay.
related in because we did a lot of SRTs. Anything?
Yeah.
How many SRTs did you do in terms?
So they were like total like 50, 60
Right.
SRTs. I was only able to cover up 26, but I knew like my 26 were like perfect ones. And so the main problem that comes over there is the sense of timing. So
Correct.
you don't have your watch. There is no clock over there. You don't know how much time you're taking for each. And
Correct.
that was the one that affected.
Then again, that's the purpose of it is the pressure that the thing is, and if you keep on looking at the watch, your answers are not going to be exactly
Yeah.
the and you're going to do something fudging it up. So that's the purpose of not having a watch there. So
So like, yes. So earlier we have the TATs.
correct.
The first one was the TATs, so that built up my like base. They went with, like very well. That was like the best one were the
Yeah.
TATs.
Okay.
The story.
You got any negative story? Because we had done a bit of negatives as such.
So what I did was I converted all the stories into positive only.
Positive. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one blank story. So
Yeah.
in the blank story, I took up our example of that elephant and the person sitting on the top of the elephant.
Right.
That's you might have, yeah, you remember. So
Right.
I took up like a person who likes uh, animals and all, and they started. He opened up a wildlife sanctuary,
Right.
wildlife area where he protected the animals. Yeah.
And he got the animals to interact with the and
So
because
there
another
was one.
okay, another reason why because you've taken that up is you're a animal lover. So
Yes.
I mean, like a lot of people would tend to copy the same story, but no, it is
Yeah.
your blank story goes along with your personality.
Yes.
So what you figured it out there is put it the right perspective. If we keep on speaking the wrong story, it becomes a problem. So
Yeah.
what you did is that is what is important. You were able to correlate to what you are.
So yeah, so another story I remember, the picture was like just a man sitting on a chair.
Right.
So in that it was like quite blank. So I took up the story that we did was something you might remember, a person opening a school for children,
Correct.
and like the child is coming and showing like I got selected in the NDA thing. I
Correct.
wrote that something like
Correct.
that.
So
Yeah.
that's it.
And
That shows your dedication towards joining the services. So
yeah,
as it is just what is coming naturally. You cannot imbibe it, but like the purpose of us, being trained is you should understand that this is the path I need to follow, and
yes,
you need to write something more about yourself. We are not writing anything about somebody else. So I'm very
yes,
happy with the blank story because it's related to since you've been animal lover. So
yeah.
always been that because all your stories have reflected that yes, it is important. Similarly, anything in TAT or SRT, I would say something that you were not we've not done or anything as such.
I don't think so. So, like, even if I talk about the negative story, there was one picture that was like kind of negative. There were
Right,
soldiers and they were firing guns and there were
right,
tanks. So
right,
that I took up like there were on the Indian borders there were some trespassing happening.
right.
So our forces took up the action. The in charge of I made a hero, like in charge the hero
Mhm.
basically. So he planned everything out. He made backup plans for the plans as well. What if something went wrong, what they would do, and they
Right.
carried out their strategic plan, and they captured all the trespassers. They
Right.
made.
And
Yeah,
in SRT, since you did
yeah,
20, now the biggest thing that I've been saying it again and again is
yeah,
finishing off the story. You finish off the entire thing. If you write half of it, so it
yeah,
doesn't give a right perception. So any
yes.
SRT that in general, because we keep on also getting inputs out of it, any SRT that we were not able to cover up as such.
I don't think so, sir. Like most of them were like quite the one I have already seen.
Right,
That's why I wrote like for every I study, I wrote like 3 lines or two
right,
lines at least.
right.
So that is why it took more time. But I think I covered up like
But then
I
again, that's
yeah
the most important thing. A lot of people
yeah
think like writing a one-word answer would not
no
suffice,
yeah
but you cannot have a one-word answer for it. Now,
yeah
the most important thing comes the interview, which is the most interesting part of it.
yeah
How much time did the interview have?
around 45 to 50 minutes. My interview went.
If
Yeah.
you can go through it, because it's the most interesting thing, because the interview
Yes.
is not
Yes.
interesting
So
thing.
I remember, and I just like what happened. So when I went, the first question he asked, like about my education, so what
Right,
I have done till now, and how many competition exams I have done, basically tried, or what were the result of
right,
those exams.
right,
So I went through all of them. Like I tried NDA, then I tried TES entry, then they were like GRE and
right.
then my university VIT exam, entrance exam. I talked about those. So after that, we moved on to more of the PIQ part.
Mm-hmm.
So then I think like most of them were based on the PIQ. So then my education qualification, how then the rapid fire questions were like the
Right.
similar that sir practiced,
That's what
told us about.
yeah,
Yeah, the education, friends, teachers, like what teachers think about me, what friends think about me, like
right.
what are my best friends, basically two best friends,
Hmm.
and two best teacher, like two of my favorite teachers. That was
Teachers,
one.
everything.
Yeah.
So purpose is then again, I think so since Agarwal sir had already covered it up. Again, the
Yes.
purpose is to speak the truth and to know
Yes.
more about yourself. The time you
Yes.
start knowing more about yourself, answers become more easier. The
Yes.
job is not about, as I said again, it's not about copying anybody answers. You're very clear
Yes.
with the answers that you had, and you very certain about what it is. Anything in interview that he went further on, or something that
Yes.
was really interesting, and you found your answer to be really good, because in general, like
Yeah.
assessment is done by the candidate himself when he gets out of it. You understand, the automatically after the interview, you know whether you are like, you get a positive thing or a
Yeah.
negative thing. So a lot of people in your batch must have also got a positive and a negative thing as soon as the interview is over.
Yes.
I think so. That's like halfway through.
So negative, I would say there was only one, two instances where I was not able to answer. So I was going to tell you about it. So the question that was uh, exactly like a new question was, first of all they asked, once you get selected, do you know where you will go for your training? So
Right,
I said IMA Dehradun,
right,
and he said okay, perfect. So now tell me how big is IMA
right,
in terms of size,
right,
how many regiments are there in IMA, how many like how big are every each regiment, how big is that, like every regiment, the size of every regiment, what is the size of, and who is current president or the head of IMA, then what will your process be when you get selected, what training would you go under in IMA. So I was like, sir, I know the answer for the last one, like what my training would be and what I would do, but I don't know about the size of the area. And I was like honest, like I didn't know about it.
the
So,
exact, yeah.
so this was actually asked to every single person, and they didn't know about it. So no, none of my friends knew like what
But
was
then
size of the
again,
IMA.
some people try to answer, which is wrong, because if you
Yeah,
don't know. And as I
yeah,
said, more about being the truthful thing, because the most important thing is, as I said, you'll only get to see all that when you're a part of IMA.
yeah.
When you're inside IMA, you'll get to see
That's
more.
what when we discussed with like when I discussed with my friends, they were like, "That's something that we will get to know when we get there." Like,
Correct.
how will we know, like, how many, like, who is the head and how big it
Right.
is?
And anything interesting that he asked and that you found your answers to be really good and you were well prepped about it.
Yes, yes. So when we talk, like in my training interview, like when sir went through my PIQ, he told me like, you have the interest in AI and you have interest in cars, and why have you not written it? So at this time I wrote it down.
Correct.
Every interest that I have,
Right.
photography and cars and AI. So first of all, when he moved to my sports, he was a Punjabi who was taking an interview, and he looked like a basketball player. So he straight away he moved on to basketball.
Right.
He skipped tennis and he was straight away moved to basketball. He was like, how many, like, what's the height of the basketball? How many players are there? What did you play? What position did you play?
Right.
And then what are the fouls? Different fouls. He talked about
Right.
that. So I knew my answer were good, and I gave whatever I had the knowledge about. Then he moved to tennis. Then
Right.
he wanted to ask. He asked like, um, what happens if there is a, like, this is a tiebreaker, like the third set, and you have the both the players have won equal amount, 6 games. Now how will the winner be decided? So
Right.
I gave him two examples and two different ways that the winner is actually the outcome as is result is decided.
Correct.
Then he was again like, he was like perfect, happy. And then with now the interesting part is now he moved on to my interests. After that,
Correct.
he moved on to my interests. So there he started like, even in my sports, he asked like a trick question. Like he was like, no, this is not correct. You have to do. I think this one is correct. So I was like confident. I said, no, sir, actually this is correct, and that
Right.
is a different thing. So he did similar to in my interest. So when I was talking about NLP and LLM,
Right.
what my AI thing I do currently.
Hmm.
So he told me, okay, so I heard NLP is not natural language processing, that is different. I think it is neural network, something. He said that. So
Right.
I was like, sir, neural network is different. It is a part of AI. It is a different concept. And in natural language processing is like, I told what natural language processing, and again he gave a smile and he was like, okay.
Right.
So that I knew like my field part, I was like quite confident, and all my answers were like
As I
perfect.
said again, so
Yeah.
when Agarwal sir discusses the PIQ, he tells you,
Yes.
like, if
Yeah.
you have your own field of interest and something that you're very good at,
Yes.
automatically these things will come out very naturally. And
Yes.
then automatically you start getting more confident about it.
Yes. So as the interview went on, the conversation was like quite on a higher level. The
Right.
conversation was quite good, and my confidence actually went higher and higher with every answer.
Right.
And then he asked about like photography. Like he asked, you have written a photography as your hobby. So he asked about camera components, and also I answered those as well.
As
So
I said
it
again,
was,
something that
yeah,
you should have an interest with, and that's it. The point is very clear about whatever it is.
yeah.
Any other question that is really interesting that sticks to your mind?
Actually, so these were all the questions. So again, there was one like, did you have any education difficulty while you were in your education, like a difficulty in education? And then other was like, he wanted to ask about my general knowledge, basically awareness. So what he said was, tell me current affairs. He wanted to ask something about current affairs. So he said, uh, give like at the end after the interview. So he said like, be quick. So like, we are running short of time. So let's move on. He said, give me three topics that you are aware of about the current affairs.
Right.
So one I said was about my tech. So I said Microsoft thing that happened, the crash, and it's still affecting people, and
Right.
how I did first that. Then second, I just before entering the SSB center,
Right.
the day I went through the Google and searched like what's the latest news, and I knew, because after that they took our phones, so we didn't know the
Right.
what's the
Right.
latest. So I said, sir, like a day before yesterday, the news came out about Rajnath Singh, our defense minister, going to uh, like USA for the new drones and so all the
Right.
deals for the drones,
There's
and
a lot
also
of talks happening with the US.
yes
Right.
for the defense. Yeah. So I talked about that, and then he asked about what type of drones and what
Correct.
like yes. So then after that he was like, okay, thank you,
Uh,
Divyansh. And
What's most important is never get half the knowledge. Just don't read the
yes,
headline. As we
yes, yes,
see
yes,
that it's better to have five information but fully. But if you have
yes,
five information non-full, it's better not to speak also.
yes.
So that is the good part. Now coming to the group, the GTO that happened third and the fourth day. So now let's start with first period military planning. As I said, it's very simple.
Yes. Yes.
You need to be very logical. Don't think of something, you know.
The first was GD, then
Yeah,
GP, the group planning,
funny
and then
exercise.
yes,
Correct.
yes.
So what was the group discussions all about?
So the first one actually, they gave us two topics and we have to choose one.
Correct.
So what happened in the first one was we chose technology in sports, and like how has technology changed the sports, the judiciary or the government, and
Yeah,
there was one more field. So there were three fields, and we have to cover up all three. But what happened was during discussion, most of us stick to technology, and again, and only talking about technology in sports.
right,
Again, because that was the more familiar part. So everyone was saying cricket, the Olympics, and this. Then the sir said, "Yeah, this discussion is not going well. You are only talking about sports, and for in sports also, you are all just saying cricket because you are aware of cricket and you are not moving forward."
right,
Uh, so he said, "Okay, now let's move on to a different second discussion, and now I'll give you a topic." So then he gave how what uh, actually drives, what is the reason behind the mismanagement of law and order in India. So
right.
what is the reason behind the current situation of law and order?
Law and order having a problem. Yeah,
Yes, yeah, why implementation of law and order is having a issue. So
right,
this discussion was like very well. So he, after discussion also, he said this was a very good discussion I have heard like since till now. This was the best discussion.
right,
And so what happened was now there was the three, he gave us three fields: technology, the
right.
citizens, and the judiciary. He said, is technology responsible, or the citizens, or the judiciary?
Yeah,
So we discussed this time. We all of us know we have to discuss all three. So we one by one we went the topics. We went from technology, then we went to citizens, and then judiciary. And I actually concluded the discussion by saying, I think, gentlemen, we all can agree that the citizens are the reasons, are the main driving force behind law and order preservation in India.
right,
At the end of the day, technology does its parts. Judiciary also, technology forces judiciary to actually do it faster, but the citizens are the main reason. Something like that I talked about. And then sir was like, this was the perfect discussion. I also believe the same. The citizens are the reason, and
right,
this.
right.
And yes, then he was happy.
So as I said, it's all about giving logical. Now comes to the planning
Yes,
exercise. You must have seen some
yeah,
people making some blunders in it. As I told
yes, yeah,
you, there is going to be
yes,
so many blunders, but the point is, most important is not to agree to those blunders
yes.
and making sure that you are on point.
Yeah, and like convince others like my plan is like,
Correct.
you're saying that you are like I'm telling a good plan, better plan than what they have
Right.
told.
So
So
there's certain things in general illogical, which a
yeah,
lot of people tend to take because it's in front. I told you that in
yeah,
group planning exercise, something is in front and something is just simple, plain lines given there, which we
yes,
could have used, but we don't use it. So anything
yes,
out of that that you were able to, like in the case when we did our group planning
yes,
exercise, like say for example, a washerwoman was there case. So we expected that we could easily, use a gaslight and light up and then walk through.
yes.
And
Similar thing happened. So in this, it was like a river again, a tea stall,
right,
and that villages here and villages there.
right,
And the village head actually was going for some inauguration in this for this post office village, and
right,
he wanted to meet the DM for something passport office creation
correct,
in that village. So and some robbers who had conducted a robbery in his village, the village head's village. They beat him up on the way and left him in a scrapyard.
yeah,
And our bus, us, we are students from college. We are going on an excursion trip, and our bus stopped there because of overeating, and we heard the noise. This was the basic gist.
right,
So, and we had stopped near a tea stall. This tea stall. So, what I think we all missed was like the kilometers. So
correct.
the
First,
sir again said like, that's 1 kilometer. How will you carry him 1 kilometer? Will you carry him on the back or that?
Right.
So that's one point that we missed. We all missed. But then again, using what available. So we said it's a tea stall. There might be a vehicle there. There might be a cycle of the tea vendor,
Right.
vendor cycle or a motorcycle or something. So we'll
Right.
take that. We said that we'll take that, sir, and take him to the nearest thing.
Correct.
Uh, then they were like, there will be water poisoning in the village. The robbers will do that and that. So we did like three group division.
Five minutes.
We were nine members, and we said the three will go here, three will go here. We will take help from the villagers, and
Right.
it was then afterward he was like happy, and he said like good, and now we have come up to a good conclusion, and I think this is a good plan.
As I said again, simple things. What we see around us, what we see, these things are available. We don't tend to use it. That's the first thing I
Yes,
should like in group planning exercise. Once you, there are two top in GTO, the first two things, the group discussion and the group planning exercise tells the GTO whether I like this person or not. Very
yes.
true. So he gets this opinion of it. So then is your individual obstacles, your command task. Now let's talk about the command task. That's the most
So yeah, so the next was the group progressive and the command task. So in that, what happened was actually we haven't seen that what would happen the plan. We were just aware about like seeing on the
right.
internet what would happen. So the first task, the server was like, okay, so his first one was easy. So we just have to fit something, the
Right.
plank, and then move across.
As I said,
That's the easy.
it would be the plank itself. You just use
Yes,
plank. And
yes.
yes, go ahead.
So after that, then it started to get a little more like
More
more
complicated.
complicated, difficult for our team to actually. We were 9 people, so we nine candidates. So what happened was, few of them were like, "No, I will do this. No, I will do this."
Right.
That also went as a negative one. So like people were like not agreeing on each other's point, and they were just
Moving around.
scrapping it. Yeah,
Yes.
they were not actually doing anything. They were not actually showing anything.
Right.
So then sir again intervened and said, yeah, if you are thinking your idea is good, then implement it, then show
Right.
it to me. So then that happened. So I would say the good progressive task, most of it was okay, not
Hmm.
that good. But after that, what happened was the snake race.
Right.
So snake race, we were all freshers in our group.
Right.
So we were all motivated, and then I knew I would like, that's the part I would like climbing a 10 feet wall,
Right.
then jumping, then crossing through the 10 feet wall. There is a beam in between,
Right.
then
So that
crossing that.
crossing it, yeah.
Yes. So but in the heat of the moment, we all like the thing was we had a teamwork. So we all lifted someone up, then
Right.
he pulled us up, and all we did a teamwork. And at the end, our team actually, with the freshers team, actually won the snake race.
How
So
many breaks did you do in that?
how many? How many?
Two breaks did you do in the snake race? Rule.
Can you repeat?
Rule.
Rule breaks. Uh, so our group didn't do any rule breaks.
Right.
So in my view, we did, but the sir didn't actually notice it.
Okay.
So what happened was like there is a net we have to cross. So what
Like,
one of the person did was he dropped the snake and it touched the red part, which
right.
was so he quickly picked it up, but so the sir did not notice. But that was the only thing that we did wrong.
Right.
Rest we kept in our like the other groups did, they had to wait like 5 seconds. They had five
Right.
time penalty and all, but our group did that. So at the last obstacle was climbing 90, like it was a 90-degree angle was there, and there was a wooden log. So that
Correct.
I was not able to do that. So I again and again falling again and again, but I was trying it again and again. So sir said, okay, other two guys who did it, so you do it instead of him twice.
Right.
So that was my like I knew, so I would lack in the physical part, and I did.
Now, as I said, physical, that's the first thing I did. Everybody said again, it's not about being as physical as possible. So
Yes,
they look at your commitment. Physical,
yes,
no, you might lack a bit, but they'll give you that opportunity when you're in the academy automatically.
yes.
What they're looking for is the brain more often than not. Come on, in your individual obstacles, how many obstacles did you do?
So I would say I was on the more average side. Most of them did 10 because there are 10 obstacles. They did 9 or 10.
Right.
I was only able to do 6. I knew I would not be able to do those ones, so I didn't went like it, I didn't show like a negative part by going there and saying, "Oh, I will not able to do it."
Yeah. Correct.
So I planned my course in such a way that I didn't go near those obstacles that I knew I would not. So climbing a rope, vertical climb, I knew I would not be able to do it, and several people got injured in that as well. So they
Right.
injured their hand and all.
Yeah.
So
So see, again, okay, injuring of hands, they tell it beforehand that don't slip down the rope.
yes,
If
yes,
you make that mistake, that means you're not listening carefully. So that's
yes,
more of a negative that, that's, as I said, the more calmer you are, the more chances you have to get through. Because
yes,
if I don't listen to what the instructions are, that means I'll never listen.
yes,
So I'll never be in control of myself. That's the most important thing. Like small things make a difference. So that is it. Again, as I said, it's not about completing the task. It's not about completing the obstacles. It's about doing what you know without getting injured, without
yes,
showing commitment, doing it properly. That's the most important thing. Because if you get injured, automatically your hands are scrapped. I'm pretty sure the G2 specifically mentions it.
yes.
Do not slide down the rope.
Yes. So do not leave your hand loose and slide down. And please do, he said like please don't get injured. There were
Right.
several students who fell from that and that. He
Right.
told like incidents, and he told you are here to show your ability, not to put in your too much. Don't put in that much that you get injured.
Correct.
Yes. So he mentioned it like
So
twice
that
or
is
thrice.
basically, you should not, this is not something that's going to get you through or something.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, like, it's
Yeah,
important.
he said that he said like a single task will not actually affect your whole.
Exactly. So that's what you need to understand. Now, coming to the most important thing, that is the command task. Now,
Yes.
how many times were you called in as, the helper? Because they
Mhm.
generally say, okay, commander, how many people you require? How many times were you called in your group?
So what I'll just go through what happened. So my turn came. First of all, sir called me. The GTO sir called me, and he asked me some questions like what
Right.
do I do, and like about the computers. He asked me how this computer works.
Correct. So that's
So
where the video actually gets to know you on
yes,
a
yes,
one-on-one scale. He takes five
yes,
minutes and then he
yes,
talks
yes,
about it. It's actually his also knowing way because he's seen you on 2, 3 tasks. As I said again, group
yes,
discussion, military planning. If you're very logical, he tends
yeah,
to have that. And you would see that discussion also, and the task also vary according to that.
hmm,
Similarly, whether you finish the task or not is not important. What is important very clearly is you're giving your 100% and you're making sure that you're like, you know, doing it all the time and you're not
yes,
perturbed by what he has to say. तुम डर
yes,
तो नहीं रहे कि वो when he,
yeah.
keeps on
So so
interrupting.
so this happened. So after that questioning, what is it now? Commander, call your subordinates. I
Correct.
called two of the subordinates I knew who would be helpful. So
Hmm.
I called them. Then we went to the starting line of the thing. And as I've seen it several times yesterday, what the all every single obstacle, every single task consider had like the use of fulcrum and
Correct.
the pulley and all that. That was the main concept in every single. You just have to find the place where you will have to put the fulcrum, where with the counterweight. That's all.
Correct. Correct.
So, and sir had briefed us about it the last day, the previous day. So this time, what I did, so I, as soon as I saw the task, I just the sir told me, come on, the subordinate had already done that task. So
Hmm.
what he said, okay, subordinate, just show your commander how to start it. So he
Hmm.
just moved the one metal thing, and then I saw like, okay, now this is the starting point. So I put the plank there. I moved. So while I was doing, so the sir knew like I had the physical thing I was lacking. So he said, "Up to your commander girega, 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 girega." He was again and again interviewing like that. So I tu chad payega tu,
Uh,
pakka. And then when I was moving across the plank, and it was like a higher, like
right.
3 feet or 4 feet high. So he was like, "Up girega, girega, girega." So I didn't fell. And then again, then the next time also he asked me like, now what will you do on the
Right.
next? On the next obstacle.
Right.
So I told him this will be the fulcrum, this will be the counterweight. I used the technical term that he told. So he was like perfect, perfect. And
Right.
then when I put it there again, and then again I started walking on the plank. It was again 5 feet, 4 feet high this time. He
Right.
again started interviewing like up girega, up girega. Then I crossed the area, and then he was like very well done and
Right.
very well led as well. Good work, commander.
So
So
as
thank you,
when
subordinates.
you
Yeah.
get to learn it, the more
Yes.
just the observation. Now, I'll tell you what is good about your path is what you heard from what he said. That's
Yes.
he's just looking at that. He's not looking at anything more than that. He
Yes.
heard what you had to say and he learned that you were listening to him. So
Yeah.
that is the biggest positive you get. So if you were subordinate to somebody else, you will never see that they're speaking the same terms. So
Yes.
that's what people get rejected with.
As
Because
they were like, इसको यहाँ लगा, इसको यहाँ लगा. I was like, the sir asked me like, what will the fulcrum be? What would that? So I pointed out, so this will be the act as a fulcrum. This will act as a counterweight, and I will be the weight move from this. We'll have to step ahead after the fulcrum area, and that.
correct.
So he was like, yeah, good. Now
As a
move on.
student, they are giving information, and if you don't
Yes,
listen to that information, then it becomes that's what I said. People are too, you know, focused on doing those 10 obstacle tasks and getting injured, rather than
yes,
focusing on the things that have been told. And it's very
yes,
clear that they say it very clearly that you've got to be like this. So if
yeah,
you're like that, now comes the conference. Now, what was the
yes.
first feeling of your conference when you went in?
Okay, so before we like the all the assessors came, so once the our CHM or CHO, like the one who our briefing officer are, so our
Right,
briefing officer, he told us like you have to enter from this gate. Make sure that you do the what's written on the gate, push or pull. Make sure the correct one, you do the correct one.
right,
Then go ahead and sit on. There will be a seat. Like the conference was same. My interview was taking in the conference, so I was already aware what
right,
how the thing would be. Some people, like some of the candidates' interview was taking in a different room, so
right,
I was already aware. So there will be a seat in the center of the conference table, and then you have to go there, sit there, and greet the officer first, then sit there. He told us that. He didn't say like don't ask for permission to sit and all. He
right,
just said go ahead, greet and sit.
right.
And then we went to the waiting room.
Correct.
So
You're
there they
number one again.
I'm one. So like that happened like after my first like PPTT,
Right.
the screening round. Again, I got one. So the GTO that this time they were female GTO. So she said, "अरे यार इसको फिर से one मिल गया. Very bad, very bad." So I got one again. So in the conference, I was the first one. So once our deputy president of the 11 board, SSB board, he briefed us like how our stay was, if we have some suggestions and all that.
Yes.
And then he gave like a good speech about like what they are looking actually in a candidate and
Correct.
how it is such a fair process. And then he said like you might have all heard about that rumors about the Allahabad board, Allahabad SSB, like it's
Rejection.
rejection, yeah, and all. So he said like it's very fair. Till now we haven't discussed about any candidate. This is now we will actually discuss amongst ourselves like
Right.
the first time. So he gave his speech. Then after that, my turn came. We have to sit there. So they were discussing about me inside, and I was outside sitting on a chair. Once the ring bell rang, so I went. I did the right thing. I pushed the. I
Right.
did the push. Yeah, I greeted the. So they told me like greet the president. I hadn't seen the president, so I just went in straight away. I saw the board. I greeted the president. Good morning, sir. And then he waited. He actually was looking. He was judging. So he waited for like 3 seconds, and then he said, "Okay, Devan, sit down. Have a
Right.
seat." Then
Right.
I sat down. I didn't sit down before his command.
Correct.
So yes. So then he asked me like, "How was your stay? What would you share with your friends?"
Right.
And then when it was normal conversation. So it came up like I did several challenging tasks in physical challenging tasks that I haven't done before. So he asked me like, "What was the most challenging for you?" So I said like I told you on the call as well. So like the GTO task involving climbing a rope or swinging from a rope.
That's the smartest thing. Why? Because at the end of the day, you've been able to observe yourself.
Yes, yes,
They know it also. And if you say something else which is not true,
yes,
automatically it come out to be true. So you're very clear about what you are.
yes,
It's nothing wrong in knowing your weakness.
yes. So the GTO started laughing, and the president was also like laughing and smiling. So he said like, "Okay, Divyansh, do you have any suggestions that we can improve upon and like provide more better facility for the next batch?" So I
Right.
said everything was perfect, and this was a like amazing experience and memorable experience.
Right.
So he said, "Thank you, Divyansh. Now you can go." I said, "Okay, thank you, sir." Then I went out. this was like only 2 minutes.
Right.
It only went on for 2 minutes. Then I
Okay. If it's a
went to
borderline case, they will
yes.
generally, when we say borderline cases, when three people out of which two people are agreeing, one is not agreeing.
Yes, I know.
Right.
That also happened with my friends.
Right.
So I went. Then I sat in a different room, different
Right.
area.
Right.
Uh, so one like my next friend, number two,
Right.
he was my friend. So he was from Himachal.
Right.
So he told me like what mistake he did. He knew like as soon as he entered, as the briefing officer said, go there and say good morning, whatever you want to say, and sit. So he
Right.
didn't wait. He didn't wait for the president's order, and he sat down. And the president said to him, like, "Did I tell you to sit?" So
Right.
that time he was like, I was blank. Everything went blank in my mind. I was not able to think properly.
Correct.
So I knew like that was part. He said me like he knew that was the wrong thing that he did.
Right.
Like the president was actually looking at every single candidate and he was observing like what he would do next.
Correct.
He was giving time for every like 3 seconds, 2 seconds for every action.
So as you
So
said,
yeah,
it's
so most of the people they didn't ask. They only went for 2 minutes,
correct.
and then there was one friend like number seven. So his I think psychology part was more like doubtful, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
So the psychologist asked them questions like multiple SRTs, multiple WATs,
Right.
and the rest of them were just looking at him what he was asking,
Right.
answering. Yeah,
That's where the doubt is. So the board
yeah,
now, for everybody saying SSB Allahabad board is difficult, it's not. It's the same.
yes,
They are just looking forward to selecting you. If
yes,
you're able to give your, as I said, you don't need to be a Rambo before you go for
yes,
the SSB. You need to be more logical because at the end of the
yes,
day, training itself will help you with it. But
yes,
if you're not logical with the instructions given, you're never going to follow it to the letter and point. And that's, I think, so pretty well. You would have also, from your every question is very simple, answer that you've given is very simple. That's what we're looking for. Right.
yeah,
So it's absolutely simple. As I said, in psychology, don't try to be doing something which is not required.
yes.
Do what is given, write it in simple terms. That's what we have to do.
Yes. So like WATs and all, I was like clear. I did all like they were like 50 WATs. I did 45, 46. I covered
And
up.
about WATs, we had done so much of it. Like,
So many, yes. So they were quite the similar one, same like multiple times they came the same WATs that we practiced with the
correct. And
enemy and
it's not
yeah,
about speaking something that you're trying to, make it up. It's about
yeah,
speaking what is your inner feeling and everything, and just making sure that you're writing according to it. Like in the sense,
yes,
if it's love, so I love my dog. It's also actually correct.
yes,
He has a lot of love for dogs, so it's
yes,
absolutely correct. So what your basic thing should come up.
yes,
So the same thing comes with SDT, self description test. You're gonna write the same and everything. So
yes.
I had given a call to Agarwal sir. He came to know about it. He wanted to congratulate you for the same. It's
Okay.
like congratulations to you and wonderful thing for the same time. It's wonderful to
Yeah.
see you smiling and everything. And any other experience that you saw of yours of your interview that stood out for you as such?
Not really, but like I would say the thing that stood out most was the GTO sir. Actually, he was like the most helpful sir that was like in the premises. He was like, we are not looking for any smart person. We are not looking for some over smart who is doing something.
Correct.
We are looking for someone who has the officer quality. And
Right.
we yeah. So he told me like, you are just putting a plank like this. We are
Hmm.
not taking an officer who are not looking for an officer who would just do a simple task. We need someone who can do the complicated thing.
Correct. So
And
as
then yes,
what you learned the third day, you implemented the fourth day,
yes,
automatically makes you feel sure.
yes,
So very simple, as I said again, simple things. What do you see at a tea stall? You gave that as an answer. That was
yes.
group. That was your idea. The same.
The tea stall.
Yeah.
So my first of all, my idea was my first sentence was first check out with the tea stall owner as you would know, like is that person this really the village head?
Right.
Because it was sounding little like confused, like fishy, and that
Right.
it is a made up thing, something that bad could happen. So then it was my idea was not the cycle part. So like cycle part came along as the sir told, like look up for the example. Then we like three people straight away said, sir, we can look for a cycle, and I said like motorcycle and that.
Right.
So the good idea that I did was taking the person to the village, and then three people who would go to the village. First of all, there would be a police jockey there. So I mentioned that. So
Hmm.
the sir was like, "That's correct because it is a small village. It has a police jockey."
Right.
And they inform the policemen and the villagers and use their help to capture those
Correct.
thieves. So
So
that was the plus point
did
that I said.
anyone say that they like to capture themselves? That's where the biggest problem lies.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So that is
So
what basic things are. Like you don't do anything which is not required of you, and you become illogical. So
one happened like with one of my friends. So what he did, he asked the question. So sir said, like, do you guys have any questions about this?
right,
Once he told the story. So my friend, one of the candidates said, "Sir, can we consider that there is something here in this village like this?" He said that.
right,
So I said, "How can I tell you that that is something that you have to think about?" And
right,
ended up as a negative part for him.
right. Correct. So as I said again, these are the things if you're logical and everything. And Divyansh, it's wonderful to have you here as it is. And again, congratulations. Now you should just be. My advice would be to work upon your physical part, get
Yes,
going towards gym and everything. So because
yes,
be well prepared for when you are there in the academy, because you've
yes,
done your mind part. Now is the time when you are well prepared for your academy. Uni should be up there. And
yeah.
again, wonderful. Any suggestions from your side to us?
Actually, that it was perfect. So what we went through the process and what we did,
All
the
right.
similar things came, and so I think it was perfect.
As I said, simple
Yes,
things. You use your mind as most important. Use your mind, be logical. Do not try to
yes,
complicate things. Learn from what is being taught, learn from what is wrong, and just be willing to accept your mistakes. Because the first thing they asked you, what did you find challenging? You were very clear about it. So they knew like this person knows what is challenging for him. So they
yeah,
did not do anything. Now I could say psychology, but I don't know my psychology. So I would
yes,
be very wrong in saying something like that. So
yes.
there in total what I see something wrong. So again, wishing you all the best and
Thank,
Godspeed. I hope to see you as an officer soon and
yeah,
do get better in your life. And
yeah.
very good congratulations to your parents also. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Take care, sir. Bye bye.
Bye bye.